I want to see if Shohei Ohtani can hit the ball out of the stadium. And I think Beto was in here one of those days.
Yeah,
and he was like, and then you're like, guys, this is the dumbest thing either one of you have ever said. And you're right. And that's what, I mean, that's what you said about, yeah, that seems to be like the one, hey, I wonder if today's the day that we get that.
Listen, it actually kind of talks about how nobody's wondering, are the Dodgers going to make the playoffs? Actually, the biggest question right now for the Dodgers is just one thing. They're going to be healthy.
Yeah,
and I think that's
trade. Yeah.
And the trade deadline, but I think that's the biggest underlying story. But nobody's sitting pins and needles saying to themselves, they're fighting in this wild card spot. Not at all. If you want to make the argument, which I don't think they're going to catch them anyways, can they pass the Phillies, or are they going to end up with the best seed? Okay, probably not. And that's what made the conversation funny when you're like, do you think Shohei can hit the ball? It sounded like two 16-year-olds. It was ridiculous. And then yesterday kind of backed up your argument of wanting to see it.
Ohtani, right field, forget about it. A massive shot. Wow. 473 feet for Shohei Ohtani, the Dodgers' 5th home run of the night.
That was a shot.
He almost hit it out of here.
I think that's the furthest ball I've seen hit in this stadium.
Okay, so that's Eduardo Perez, who's been around a long time.
I just want to hear the crack.
Sound.
Ohtani!
Sounds like a gunshot. It really does. And David Cohn, who's on the broadcast, goes, are we sure that didn't go over the roof? Because you saw everybody at the very top of the pavilion turn around and look behind him. If they kept showing replay after replay, and the one kind of from the left field corner was the best one because you saw how high it was. It was over the scoreboards at one point, and it came down and it went over that pink sign, but under the roof. I don't know what that gap is, maybe 4 or 5 feet. It's not very big. And it landed on the concourse and skidded out into that pavilion area behind home plate. Let's kind of go through this. You could tell Carl Ravitch on the call was like, oh my, Eduardo Perez, David Cohn. We're all like, I don't know if I've ever seen that. Clayton Kershaw was on the headset at the time, and they asked him, and keep in mind, Clayton Kershaw has been a Dodger for 15 years. He's seen a lot of games at Dodger Stadium.
Sure.
And he said,
opposing team, his team. Yep.
I've never seen one up there. And then he said, I wasn't even pulled. That was just slightly to the right of center. He goes, I've just never seen one up there. And you saw Miguel Vargas. Miguel Vargas, they
put
panned
his hand on his head.
And he turned to one of his teammates and he said, what the? And then they cut the camera. So I think we could probably guess what happens next. You're seeing these reactions from these big leaguers to balls that even other major leaguers, like, I don't know what I'm just looking at right here. So that's all the anecdotal evidence. Here's the real evidence, okay? Since the StatCast era in 2015, that's when they can measure launch angle, spin, velo, exit velo, all this stuff. So for 2015, we're talking 10 years of data. Dodger Stadium has the second fewest home runs of 450 feet or more, okay, throughout the 30 Major League Baseball parks. They've got the second fewest. Only 15 home runs have been hit 450 feet or more. Second fewest in baseball. Ohtani has 5 of them. So
in 3.5 months?
In 3.5 months. There have been, in 10 years, there have been 15 home runs of 450 feet or more. And he's got 5 of them in a few months. And he's going to hit it. They interviewed him on SportsCenter afterwards. I think it was Michael Eaves that was doing the interview. And they asked him, and you could tell, Shohei's pretty diplomatic with his answers. He's pretty down to them. He doesn't really, not terribly excited and anything. But you could tell it was like one of those things like, yeah, I think if I can pull that a little bit. Because had he pulled that, just call it 20 feet further to the right field foul pole, that's way over that roof. It's not even close. It probably lands on the top, and he's going to do it. And the way he's swinging the bat, he's locked in. He swings as hard as he can at nearly every pitch. And here's the last thing about the data of all of this. He hit that ball 473 feet on an 86-mile-an-hour cutter. It was a soft pitch. It's not like he caught
Power
Paul
to power.
Skeens
Yeah.
on the barrel and reversed one on him. It's not like Miller Moss from the or what is that Moss guy, whatever his name is, Mason Miller. Miller Moss is the quarterback at SC.
The A's.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mason Miller throwing 103, Aroldis Chapman, whoever, those guys are. He didn't barrel up 100-plus miles. It's an 86-mile-an-hour cutter that he hit 473 feet. So he did all of the work.
Okay, I know
It's so stupid.
I know we're just talking about this one swing from yesterday, but I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this morning. What made Shohei so great was the fact that this dude was doing both. Okay? Was it always, like, if you said, let's take when he was at his absolute peak as a pitcher, and we'll see what happens moving forward, is this his peak right now as a hitter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me we'll stop it here for a second. His peak as a pitcher versus peak as a hitter. I'm trying to figure out, because the reaction everybody's having and how many home runs he has and just he's a highlight reel and the way he rounds the bases and everything else. I'm trying to think, and I know this probably isn't the conversation that we have to have today. He's going to reach a point where just hitting becomes it. That's the long play where it's just hitting for him.
I agree.
Can he match what he's doing as a hitter, as a pitcher? Was he, when he was at his peak, not anything near it, because I know he was a great pitcher as well and started an all-star game, but this is just unreal.
Yeah.
This is literally the best in the sport right now that we're watching, just doing one of the two things that he does great. I just don't know how to describe it. Like those reactions that his peers show night in and night out, yeah, I don't really know how to describe it.
John Smoltz, and I don't want to put words in his mouth because it was a long time ago, but I remember him saying that he thought that if Ohtani were just a full-time pitcher, he could be a Cy Young caliber pitcher. That's how good of a pitcher he is. That had he really just said, this is what I'm going to do, this is all I'm going to do,
stop.
that he would be a Cy Young caliber pitcher. So he's that good. But I agree with you. I think the best I've seen from him offensively versus the best I've seen from him on the mound, the offense is better. Not by a mile, but you're talking about an ace-level pitcher and an MVP Triple Crown level hitter. And this is stupid to say because he's got to do it for a much longer period of time. This is his 7th year in Major League Baseball. There's at least a chance, it's not absurd to say it, that he's the greatest baseball player to have ever lived because of what we're talking about. It's not just that he can hit the ball 473 feet to dead center field in a ballpark that does not give up long home runs. It's he can do that, and he could maybe be the best pitcher in baseball if that's what he wanted to do. And instead of being an A+ at one or the other, he's just a rock solid A at both. And no one else has ever done that. No one else probably ever will do that. He's going to pitch next year, I would assume, and even if he's just good, it's still a massive win for the Dodgers.
I just bring it up because he's been so amazing with a bat this year.
Ugh.
And here you are just sitting back, and it's like, what do you mean he was doing both of those things for the Angels? And obviously with the Dodgers, the games at this point. Remember after the All-Star game, it was like, we're done with Shohei.
Yep. See you in spring training,
starting
buddy.
with Shohei.
Yeah.
Like now
that's a great point.
This is the first time that whether you're a Dodger fan or you're just a baseball fan, Shohei is finally in meaningful games past the All-Star game.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. Like when you see that home run last night, when you see him on a tear like he can get on, it's, hey, man, what's that going to look like when he's in October? Like, can he do that? Whereas with the Angels, it was, hey, did you see Ohtani do that thing last night? Yeah, that was cool. And that was it.
The team still lost.
Right. Like Jorge Soler yesterday for the Giants hit the longest home run of the Major League season yesterday, nearly 500 feet. It's like 493 feet or something. It's in Coors Field, but still hit it 493 feet. And it was, the Giants are not a good team.
Yeah, below 500.
And it was just, oh, did you see that long home run? Yeah, cool. That was awesome. All right. And then you just immediately moved on. That's what it was like with Shohei with the Angels, other than if he was on a day he pitched, there'd be a little bit extra. But just hitting a long home run, yeah, that's cool. But nobody cares if it's on a bad team like the Angels or a bad team like the Giants this year. Now it's, you're going to hit one out of the stadium in the World Series? Is that the bar we're trying to clear? It's extraordinary. Every time he comes up, you stop what you're doing. And there's not a lot of baseball players.
Not a lot of
that
players
you can say
in
about
sports, period.
No.
You stop what you're doing.